What's going on, watch people? Today I'm going to be showcasing to you guys a James McCabe watch. It's the Baja Chrono and the color is black. This is an interesting watch for sure. Maybe it's a more interesting company though. Make sure to watch this video until the very end. I think you guys are going to love it. Here we go. All right, here we are. Let's unbox this thing. Let's check it out. Slide this out. There's the logo on top there, pretty nice. Logo there as well in front of the box, pretty nice. Let's take this off, see what happens. Well, and here is the one tiny thing I want to gripe about a bit. This feels super cheap. Now you might be thinking, well, it doesn't matter if it's cheap, it's to protect the watch, right? Well, all you had to do was put it in here and glue it. And I would have never saw it or had to touch it. And if I was worried that the watch could have been damaged, all I had to do was flip this around and go, oh, it's protected. Just glue it in there. I know it would make making these a little more expensive, but come on. That's driving me a little crazy. Let's get this out of here. Of course, the tags are on the watch. And it comes with this card. Not bad. And it comes with instructions. And that's really it. All right, there is the watch. Now this watch is 650 British pounds. That's its listing price. That's a little over $900 in the US. I need you guys to keep that in mind. A little over $900 US to buy this watch. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to appear in this video that I think you might find interesting. Let's move on to the size. Now the size of this watch, this is 41 millimeters across. Now as far as the movement, okay, I know you usually don't see any ticking on my channel for the most part, but this watch has a Japanese mecha-quartz movement. The mecha-quartz movement is basically, long story short here, it's a mechanical mechanism attached to a quartz movement. Now I think that's pretty cool. Now, the chronograph on this watch, of course, has a second hand. It also has a minute counter. The minute counter goes up to 60 minutes, or you could call that 1 hour. To start the chronograph, you hit this top button here. There it goes. Second hand is running. This is the minute counter. It's going to keep track of those minutes. Now, when you want to stop it or pause it, click that button there, and to reset it, hit this bottom button and it very quickly resets. Now, if you've reset quartz chronographs, they do reset quite different and definitely not as fast. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a quartz time telling movement, but the chronograph is mechanical and I just think that's pretty awesome. The timekeeping on this watch is fantastic. If you guys are familiar with quartz watches, you already know that the timekeeping is fantastic. Quartz watches generally keep fantastic time, period. Water resistance. This watch is 100 meters water resistant, so not bad there. Now the case, this watch does have a 41 millimeter case, and you know, it's not awful. It is stainless steel. I don't know exactly what kind of stainless steel it is. They don't really mention it. These, let's point this out. These angles here, I mean, they're sharp. You're not going to cut anything with it, but they are sharp. This watch was made pretty well, I think. Let's check the bezel out on this one. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look amazing, though. I mean, this is a $900 asking price watch. And the bezel insert, you might be thinking to yourself, well, look, it's scratched, what'd you do? No, this is how this watch comes. It's supposed to look aged, and I did like that. But stainless steel bezel insert, what is that? I mean, you're talking $900 asking price and the bezel insert is stainless steel instead of ceramic. I don't know. Now, turning the bezel, it's a little hard to turn, and man, those clicks are loud, but it does line up pretty nicely at that 12 o'clock marker. Pretty nice. I guess you could put this there. That's a little more lined up. Now this does have a hardened mineral crystal, and you know, for $900 US, at least at their asking price, this definitely absolutely should have a sapphire crystal. Let's check the crown out here. The crown does have that logo. Does unscrew. There it is. Pull it out once to set the date. Pull it out again to stop that quartz movement. And now you're able to set the time. Push it in again. Starts that quartz movement right back up. Push this in and twist it, and that will lock the crown, keeping this watch as water resistant as it comes. Let's check out the dial and the hands. The dial from here pretty much just looks black, but if you get closer, you can see that there it is. You can really see that it does have very cool texture on that dial. And this watch is supposed to look a little older, and I really like that dial and the kind of off-white of all the markings. The one thing I will say that's not amazing is you can see the James McCabe logo pretty well, but look at the mecha-quartz. It just doesn't, it's not like as crisp or as neat as it needs to be, if you want to call it that. It's very blurry, and it's pretty cheap looking, if you ask me. Check out the looms on the watch. Doesn't look too bad in the photo, but let me tell you, I put this in the sunshine for at least 20 minutes or so, and that's as bright as it got, and just not that bright for being in direct sunlight for 20 minutes. Let's check out the bracelet. This bracelet is a stainless steel Jubilee bracelet. Has solid stainless steel on the Jubilee bracelet, even in the center links there. But check this out though. Look at it this side. You see how those pins, they look like they're screws, but they're not screws. They're just pins. So you just need the pressure on the right side of it to adjust the bracelet. That's the arrow points of where you have to push that from. And here's the problem. To me, I think that cheapens the watch big time. It can basically just be sized by pushing those pins out with a tool. And once it's sized, it's fine. But there's no reason to make those pins look like little screws. I think that's selling something that it's not. If you looked at this in a jewelry store, you might look at it and be like, oh, and if you were buying it in a jewelry store, of course, you're going to have them set it for you. So size it for you, I should say, so it fits your wrist. And if you're looking at this in a jewelry store and you don't really know a lot about watches, you might just look at it and be like, ah, screws, nice. But that's not the case. So I think that's bad news for this watch right here. Let's have a look at the clasp. The clasp does have the James McCabe logo right there. It's put on pretty well. And the clasp is a push button clasp to unlock it. You can just push it back to lock it. Nice and locked now. Push these in, opens right up. Certainly not bad. It is solid stainless steel, and it does have a little, that newer version of how these are put together with the inner clasp there. That's pretty much how they're done. No longer that flat stainless steel. Now it's this a little thicker stainless steel, but one side goes into the other. Not bad. I mean, definitely not bad. Let's get a shot here. There's the inner bezel there. It just says stainless steel. Nothing about James McCabe or anything. You know what that means? That means most likely James McCabe bought this bracelet for this watch. And that also doesn't say a lot of amazing things about this timepiece here. Shows a little trouble, if you ask me. There it is on my wrist. And honestly, I really like how this watch looks. And it's a rough one, isn't it? I don't think this is a bad watch if it was massively cheaper. $900. The asking price on this watch is $900. $900. That's just so crazy. No sapphire crystal, mecha-quartz movement, fake screws on the side of the bracelet. You can tell the bracelet wasn't just made for them. Now here's a pre-owned one that sold for $60 on eBay. And you can tell if you really know what to look for as far as how watches are when you buy them. This one's pretty much brand new. And there's almost no wear on it. Here's one brand new on eBay, $125. That's sold. That's not an asking price. It's sold for $125. That price, so outrageously high. For basically a $60 watch, they're charging $900. $900. That's not cheap. Okay, that's basically something that Invicta would do, but I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, so get ready. Invicta isn't that bad. I just showed that watch to a very good friend of mine. He's not a watch person, but he likes stuff. He likes learning about stuff. I'll show him the Rolex. I'll show him another watch that's coming to this show in a minute. You guys are going to be really confused on that watch. Anyways, I showed him that. He's looking at it. He's like, no, it's pretty nice. He's looking at the sides and he's messing with it a little bit. He liked it. And then I told him the story of what the MSRP is versus what it sells for. And then I said, now do you think it's a good watch? And he looked at me and he was like, no. He goes, now it's just like a rip-off watch. He used the term rip-off watch. There's a new one for you guys, rip-off watch. I think that James McCabe watch looked better than most of the Invictas that I've seen, but it doesn't look that way anymore, knowing that they're claiming it is a $900 wristwatch. And you saw the bracelet, other than the one little thing that has JM on it. You could just buy that bracelet anywhere. It's not like the bracelet in a Rolex. And sure, you might be thinking to yourself right now, well, it's a $60 watch. Why would it have the bracelet of a Rolex? No. It's a $900 watch, okay? $900. If I got that as a gift and I saw this video, the one right here, the one I'm filming right now, okay? If I saw this video, I'd be pretty disappointed. I'd be like, somebody wasted how much money on this watch? You know, and as far as a timekeeper, fine. It doesn't look bad. I like how it looked. The dial definitely was pretty cheap. I like the texture on it and everything, but that red writing of mecha-quartz, I mean, that just was so blurry. It looked cheap. Definitely looked Chinese-made cheapness. I'm sorry, James McCabe, okay? I'm not going to get that watch, look at it, and go, oh, man, this is great, and then look up what it costs on your website and tell everybody it's worth $900. I'm a lot smarter than that, guys. I looked up what it's actually selling for, and boy, is that cheap. And if you're telling the fans, if you're telling the public that it's $900 and the thing costs $100, let's just put the used and the new together. We'll call it $100. $900 for a $100 watch. No. You guys go down to like $200. Put it in some store and say it's $150, and then maybe sell it to somebody for $120. You'd make a good name for yourself. You would actually make a good brand name. People would say, hey, James McCabe, it's a really nice watch, and it's only $120. And look, it does this, it does that. Chrono quartz. There's some mechanical versions that are all mechanical. Whew. I'm sorry, guys. It was disappointing. $900 for a watch that costs $100. No thanks. I'll see you next time on another episode of It's Complicated.